I thought I would talk about this guitar today, and it is a Squier Jazzmaster, the vintage modified baritone. They go for a lot of money on Reverb, at least a lot for what was originally a $500 guitar. Now they're selling for like $1,000. It's big money, but I have one, and I didn't pay that much for it. So what happened? So I was thinking a few months ago that I would like to get a baritone guitar. And I have an 8-string with a 27.5-inch scale length. So that's kind of like a baritone, but it's also an 8-string. And I thought, I don't have a baritone 6-string, so I should get one. And I didn't want to spend a lot of money on it because I feel like I don't really need it, but I also thought it would be cool. So what did I do? I went to Atomic Music, which is a great used music store in Beltsville, Maryland. And I bought a lot of my gear there. And everyone in this area knows them because they're like the used music store. And they're a small business and they have good prices and cool gear. So that's the place to go. And I thought originally I would make a parts caster. Just buy a cheap Tele or Strat, probably a Strat, and then buy like a Strat neck for a baritone guitar on the internet. And there's some pretty cheap ones I found on Amazon. They're 30-inch and they were like $80. I don't know if they're good, but I was willing to try it out for that price. And so that's what I set out to do that day. So I get there and there's many Strats. There's 4 or 5 that are all like $150 and they all seem to be about the same model and a few different colors. And I found one I liked and I decided to buy it. And I asked them, do you have any baritone guitars? Because I don't see any. And they said, yeah, we have one in the back, but it needs some work. And I don't know if we can sell it to you. And I said, okay, I'll look at it. So we went to the back and hidden away in this secret room was this one. And it's going to be $450. And that's more than I planned to spend on this little excursion. But it was not a bad deal considering that they go for $1,000 or more online right now. But it had a big problem with the bridge. And it wasn't the original bridge. This is the bridge that was on the guitar. It's made of wood. It's not adjustable. It's handmade. It's handmade by the guy who sold me the guitar. And it was made for none other than Joshy, the drummer of Ilsa, who people around here know. They're kind of legendary in the local scene. I've seen them play a lot. They used to close out every night at the Corpse Fortress, just about. And that was the spot to be back in the day when it was the Corpse Fortress. It's not anymore. I think it's a preschool, and I think that shut down. I think it's now abandoned and covered in graffiti. Don't really know what's happened to it, but it was a cool local house venue, and it was one of the scene hubs back 10 years ago. Anyways, this guitar had this weird handmade bridge, and I wasn't going to play that. I think Josh has got big hands and he wanted a meaty, substantial bridge because a normal bridge just ain't going to cut it. But also that thing ain't going to cut it for me and wasn't adjustable. So they also sold me this little gold bridge, some kind of Fender style, probably ripped off another Squier. I had to drill the holes and install the bridge myself. It's kind of a mess. I'm not really a good luthier, but I did it. It worked. And is there ferrules on this? I guess it does have, I guess you can put the strings through it. That might have been a good idea, but I didn't do that. I just drilled some holes in it. What I did, in all seriousness, was I aligned 2 strings, the high and low strings, just put them kind of loose because you can't have them too tight. You can't have them too loose either. It's a bit of a fiddly process. You got to get them just a little bit slack so you can kind of pull them tight where you want the bridge to sit and then drill the holes. But if you're ever going to install a bridge, find someone who's good at doing it and either take it to them or find a better YouTube video that tells you how to install bridge, because it ended up working out pretty well. Not sure how easy this will be to see, but the high string is like a millimeter closer to the edge of the fretboard than the low string is. It's not quite centered. It's really close, and I measured it. It's only off by like a millimeter, but believe it or not, you can feel that. I can feel that, and it doesn't feel 100% right, but it's fine on the low string, and it's a baritone guitar. What am I going to do with it? I'm going to do down-tuned, chuggy riffs, not shredding on this. I could, but it is a 30-inch neck, so it's pretty long. It's quite a long boy, and that makes it really good for low tunings. And I did a whole video about scale length. You can check that out. This guitar is in it. I had it in drop A. Since then, I've decided to go down to double drop E. So drop E, which not that many people play in, because normally you drop it down to D, but I decided to go down to E, but it's drop E because power chords. So it's an octave below a normal guitar, or in the same octave as a bass guitar, but also in drop E, which is slightly unusual tuning. So I put an 80 gauge string on this for a 30-inch scale neck. 80 got me in the right zone for tension. I've also talked about how to make custom string gauges. You can do that, and I recommend it. But yes, that was the right string gauge for what I needed, was a low 80, and I forget the rest of them off the top of my head. I can put them on screen here. Not like you probably have a 30-inch scale guitar that you want to take to drop E, but if you do, you can. It's right there. Thankfully, I didn't have to file the nut. I guess it was either already wide enough or the previous tech had also done that, but I'm not really sure. There was some issues with this guitar, and it was kind of a pain to set up after I put the bridge on. There's a lot of issues with the high frets fretting out and getting dead notes. So I went ahead and I installed a shim in the back of the neck, which I've also never done, but I've heard about it, and I thought maybe that's the right thing to do here, and it was. So I cut up part of a business card, and I stuck it in there about 1 inch across the top. And I want it at the top here because I want the neck to go this way. And so it's lifting off more. You could also shim the bottom of it. That's going to give you more angle this way. And that is not what I wanted. I already had too much of that. So I wanted to do that, which is, I think, slightly less common as far as neck shims go. I think a lot of times you shim it the other way, but this is what I need to do, and it actually worked out just fine. So let me know in the comments if you have one of these guitars and if it has fret issues. I don't know if that's a problem that existed on it when it was brand new, and if it's something to do with the bridge or the neck is warped over time. I have no idea. But either way, I shimmed the neck. That made it play a lot better. Got the action pretty nice and low there. Yeah, so it plays great, and it sounds pretty awesome. It sounds killer, especially in drop E. It's so low. This is what it sounds like. It's pretty epic. Now, the electronics also has a story, and I didn't do this. The previous tech who worked on it did. You can see it's got these Duncan design P90s in that are stock, but this doesn't have any P90s. They're actually... This is a piece of foam behind this one, and this one is a Schaller humbucker. I don't really know what kind, but it is some kind of Schaller humbucker, and it sounds good. The pickup selector switch and the tone knob have been removed, so all we've got here is a master volume, and that's it, and a humbucker in the bridge, which I've always kind of wanted to do on a guitar, but I've just never really felt like removing a pickup and all the electronics. I just thought it would be cool in theory to have just a master volume. It's pretty rock and roll. Just go raw, just a volume and nothing else. Also, the volume pot on this, when I bought it, I thought maybe I'll swap it out with a 1 mega ohm pot because that'll be even brighter than the 500K or 250K that's probably in there. Well, the previous tech had also done that. So kudos to him, because I would have done that, but I didn't have to. I looked at, and it was already a 1 mega ohm pot, which I guarantee was not stock in this guitar. So that's really cool. So it's got a nice bright volume pot. And if you don't know, the higher the value of the pot, a 1 mega ohm pot is going to be as bright as you can get in terms of a volume pot or a tone pot. A lower resistance like a 250K or 500 will be darker and will cut out more of the high end, which some people like for vintage guitars. They want that 250K darker tone pot. I don't. For metal, I want it bright. I want it clear, and 1 mega ohm is a good way to go if you feel like swapping out your pots. Got a good price on it. I had to do some work on it. I had to polish up the frets, and I had to set it up, and I had to drill a new bridge. So yeah, I got a good price, but I paid with my labor. However, I'm happy with it, and I got a good guitar. I don't really have anything else cool to say about this, so let's hear it in a mix. I've got a song inspired by the little-known underground Swedish band Meshuggah, who also like to use the really long, big guitars and stuff. So you can check out this demo and hear how it sounds. I hope you've enjoyed this exploration of my gear acquisition adventures. As always, I urge you to consider smashing like, subscribing to my channel, check out some of my other videos, check out my video on scale length, and I'm going to have some others in this series with this guitar. I just wanted to talk about this guitar, so there'll be some other stuff coming. So hopefully I see you in another video. Except you see me and I don't see you. So hopefully you see me in another video. Have a good day.